starting over here in the middle center. He needs to win or he goes to the loser match.
SuperNova.
Newly joining Root Gaming today.
Yeah, today officially.
Just an hour and a half ago or so.
Happened. And up here to the 12 o'clock in green for CJ Entis.
CJ Entis effort.
Effort was an idea I always liked. I'm not sure why. It just kind of stood out to me.
Capital O looks good on it too.
It does. It just kind of like, I don't know, it's the embodiment of what you need to be a good StarCraft player in and out.
And he does that. I have heard back in the past, had some decent connections to CJ Entis. Knew some of the guys over there, and always was said that Effort was such a hard worker. And you can really see it reflected in his play. His mechanics are so strong, and you know, it's funny. In StarCraft 1, I talked so much to so many people back in the day, all the coaches and pro gamers and all that. And it was basically unanimous in Korea that what you were looking for in a budding pro gamer and someone who could become a champion was speed and mechanics.
Yeah.
Have the speed, get good at the mechanics, everything else can be learned eventually. And sometimes we do see brainless macro players that are really fast, no doubt about it, but then you get a player like Effort, and he just becomes godly, whereas, you know, you have someone like Slayer's Boxer, it's like, well, he never really had the mechanics and speed. He had the brain, and could he keep up at the end of the day? No, he couldn't. It's harder to learn that.
Yeah. I just want to note we have an 11-11 barracks gas timing here for SuperNova. But yeah, I really like what you're saying about Effort, and it definitely shows in his play. Everything you echoed about Effort was before Kespa switched over, everyone was telling me this about Ragnarok from TSL and about Symbol. Those two players, everyone was saying this. That's right. Outside of TSL, we're saying like these guys are terrifying. They're so good. They're going to be one of the strongest players ever.
People forget Symbol was the student of Jaedong.
Yes.
In StarCraft 1.
Real. It's real. It's true.
Yeah. What do you think about this quick speed build?
I think it's designed to get early map control and is going to punish any sort of early Hellion results. Yep. Zergs are getting really good at that. Yeah. They know this spot on every map, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see such quick speed. Really is going to head off those Reapers. They're not going to do much at all.
They'll head off the Reapers, and it will actually put a little bit of pressure on the command center early. And it's going to make SuperNova, I feel, regret that he made 2 Reapers. Uh-oh, he needs a pause.
He's really regretting it. All right. Yeah, you know, he actually can be caught off guard by this as well. If he doesn't realize quite quickly that speed is being made. If we see another group of Lings being made, and he just has his Reapers like out on the map, they can either A, be caught, or B, he just runs right past and does put pressure on before there's really any units out there. And someone like Effort controls Zerglings very, very well.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the pause is all about. I expected something simple, such as a sound problem or some sort of problem with the computer.
Maybe a sticky key or something like that, because it didn't seem like anything went super wrong with him.
Yeah. Hopefully it's nothing that's really a big issue, because obviously being down a game in the series and having to pause because some sort of equipment issue can be quite stressful. Not because it's going to get DC'd or anything, just because, like, or get DQ'd, but because it's just like really stressful. Yeah. Your equipment's not working. You might have to switch out to someone else's keyboard.
You can get a defeated attitude really quickly like that, actually.
Especially if it's a case, like we've seen this very rarely, but sometimes like a friend or a teammate comes to the studio with you and like suddenly your DT35 isn't working and you're like, can I use your DT35? I know you have like different colored keys than me and your keyboard's like a little bit more worn out than mine, but like I need to use yours because it's the only DT35 we had. So his mouse stopped working, it appears. So hopefully either his mouse is fixed or he can get a replacement that suits him very quickly.
Yeah, maybe just unplug it, plug it back in.
That happens a lot to me, actually, with some of my old mice. Not really the newer ones that I'm using these days. My scroll wheels started bugging out. I think I did some research. Apparently, if you use a mouse a lot, you scroll a lot like I do, because I like read a lot on the internet. It messes with your scroll wheel, but...
Well, that would make sense, right? Yeah. I guess that's how things get messed up. Yeah, SuperNova plays a lot of games every day. Did you see which mouse he uses?
God, you know, I used to know. I really just don't know.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I'm sure we'll get a shot of it in a little bit, but
a lot of Koreans like to use the G9X or the Zowie Miko or whatever it's called.
G9X is like the standard in most PC bongs, so that's what you get with that. That's why
really good mouse.
DT35 was also standard in PC bongs for a long time, so I think that's part of the reason why that's so heavily used.
It's just such a good, well, actually, a big part of why it was so heavily used is because Nada used it.
Yeah.
A lot of people just copied him way back.
Now, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Nada named himself after a PC bong called Nada, because I've seen a PC bong series called Nada, and I think that like there was some sort of connection with that afterwards as well.
I never heard that. I never heard that before. I know that it means it's me, and that's about all I really know. He was such a little kid at the time.
Yeah.
It definitely could be either a PC bong maybe that he was playing at. He's like, oh, I guess I'll just take the name of this PC bong. Or it could be, it's me. I don't know. It's like, what's your username? I don't know. It's me.
That's how a pro gamer called Luxury got his ID, his Luxury PC bong. There's a lot of PC bong ID players. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
There's all sorts of them, like the monitor name that was AnyPro.
Yeah, AnyPro.
AnyPro Prime.
I used to have an AnyPro monitor in the States, actually.
Oh, wow. Let's see. What there's Nesty, of course.
Nesty, of course.
Had a Nesty bottle on his desk. Doesn't even really care for the drink that much.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not like one that he's always reaching for.
I'm trying to think of some other ones like this. Just like floating through IDs. I always wanted to know what my Maru named himself Maru.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's a lot of different famous Maru things.
Maru is a Japanese word, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what it means in Japanese, but it can mean like sort of like a floor or something when I'm in Korean in certain circumstances. I'm pretty sure that's not what he names it for. There's a lot of famous cafes, or there's like a famous name for a chain of cafes. Like there's like 3 different chains of cafes in Korea called Maru, Cafe Maru, Maru Cafe, something
Maybe
Maru.
owned by Terran players who are fans.
So maybe he like used to go to one of those coffee shops all the time.
I don't know. He's pretty young. He named himself that way before he would have gone into coffee shops.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's it. It's probably like from an anime or something.
Yeah, or maybe he really looks like Cat on the internet, the Japanese cat that's always like playing with its owner. It's called Maru.
That definitely could be it. If I'm like a little kid, I might name myself after a cute little cat.
This cat is famous for like running and jumping through like boxes. Say you have like a 12-pack of Coke, the rectangle box.
Yeah.
Cat just runs and dives through the box and like lands in it and slides across the floor.
That definitely could be it. That would describe his play quite well also.
I feel like that could be the reason. There's like certain players that I always wonder about their ideas. Like, for example, Parting and Avenge. I'm like, okay, Parting what? What are you parting? And Avenge, who are you avenging? Like, is there some sort of like, there's something in your past that like he like keeps a secret? He's only waiting for his moment. By the way, he did really, really well in his Code A group. He got out in first place.
Who was this?
Avenge.
Oh.
So he's back.
Yeah, I saw that he made it through.
Which is actually really surprising because he, quote-unquote, retired and quietly joined Jin Era.
That's a thing StarCraft pro gamers have done for years and years and years back in StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. They say they retire, but they don't actually retire. You never actually can leave StarCraft all the way.
No, yeah, of course not. I guarantee you, like, Slayer's Boxer is somewhere right now in a PC bong playing StarCraft 1.
Could be.
I bet he's like.
I saw he showed up to Pro League recently. Actually.
Yeah, he did come to support SKT. Yeah. Brought Jessica there as well. Really made a big showing there. Everyone got really excited. So,
all right,
we're gonna be starting soon. We got the word, so I guess the mouse issue is resolved. At least I hope so, for SuperNova's sake.
If he has to play with only keyboard, I'm not liking his chances here.
Yeah,
it's hard to click on things with a keyboard.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be possible unless
you
like
can bind a key
it to like shift or something.
Yeah.
And you like,
but you can't grab things in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to like.
I guess you can
like
use the arrow keys or something.
You like press the bind key for clicking, and then you just like arrow key to drag it. I don't know.
Man.
Seems impossible, man.
It would be pretty tough.
All right, we don't have to theorycraft about that anymore. 2 Reapers out here marauding around. That factory. That factory was scouted, by the way, by the Overlord.
Uh-oh. What probably has happened here is he has to redo his drivers.
Probably.
That is my guess, and I think that is a very good guess indeed. Okay, that is a G9X.
Yeah, it is a G9.
Oh, you know what it is? I think probably his left button might not be working. Because we saw the Reapers moving, and he already had them selected, and we saw him move back and forth a couple times, so he might have been trying to click with the left button, and it may not be working.
Hopefully it's not some sort of weird binding issue with his mouse. I don't think that would be the case, but I mean, I suppose it could be if SuperNova has like some really weird hotkey setup.
You know, one thing I'm a little bit nervous about, if this was like, if he was on like a team that had like another player here, you could borrow that mouse maybe, because a lot of people do use that mouse.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, you know.
Or even if this was like a bigger event, you could definitely find someone maybe that was eliminated or something like, oh, can I just use your G9X? Whereas it's not quite fair to ask one of the other players that's playing here because they're like warming up or playing against him at the moment. So that's a tough situation.
Yeah, well, one thing I know for sure is the G9 mouse in this case is like, it's pretty specific, right? It's not like a mouse you can just easily find.
No,
there's a chance that there might be one.
They're actually discontinued.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I know that the just the standard like older version of the Logitech mouse that is quite common in PC bunks. I know there's like a ton of those laying around here. Maybe you can at least get something like that. But if he has special key bindings and whatnot, that might really throw him off his game. You never want to play with equipment that's not yours ever. So apparently, to fix the drivers, the computer will have to be rebooted, in which case we'll probably resume the game from recovered replay.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And I don't know if that means we're going to a commercial break or not, if we're just going to have a little chat here, Tosis.
I don't know.
But let's have a little chat until otherwise
let's have a little
noted.
Chat. All right. What should we chat about here, Wolf?
Favorite old games from StarCraft II, from the GSL.
Favorite old StarCraft II GSL games? Okay, the first thing I think of every single time is Game 5 in the semifinals, SC
versus
against ST on, it was Peaks of Bagdu, Crossfire.
Crossfire, yeah.
Yes, on Crossfire. That game, like, I had tears in my eyes. It was such an epic, amazingly good game.
The game that always comes to mind for me, I talk about this a lot, is Boxer versus ST, but actually, of course, not really Boxer. Marine King, his old ID, against ST, Game 7. Same map as Game number 1, which is Metalopolis. He gets close spawns again, does the SCV pull again, and it fails the second time, despite the fact that ST went for a hatchery first because he messed up his micro a little bit there, and ST's micro was impeccable. That moment, that feeling, how tense it was, for me, it was so exciting. I'll never forget that.
One that you just made me think of on another NST game versus Inca on Tal'Darim Altar in the finals. It was like I've never seen anyone make someone else look so bad. It was like really ridiculously one-sided. I was like, oh my god, is this really our GSL finals this time?
I remember Tails versus NST in the GSTL. It was Game 7, I believe, the last game. The DTs, where he actually walked the DT into the main base, walked past the Sport Crawler, then just eliminated everything there and ended up winning the game.
Nesty really should have won that game.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. But that moment where Nesty was called upon as the final player and was not able to deliver. Trying to think of some other games that like really come back to me. I remember Hongen, I believe, versus Jinro on what was that map? It was a 2-player map with backdoor rocks that you could kill.
Did he go DTs?
No DTs. He forgot Colossus range, if I remember correctly. It was the round of 8, and he was on starts with a B, I'm pretty sure. First map pool ever we had in StarCraft II, like that old. Wow, I can't remember it. It wasn't like Kulas Ravine. It was, what was the name of the map? Got you into the map, 2 players, okay, like I'm going to make a picture on this desk in front of us. One base is here, one base is here. There's like backdoor rocks here and backdoor rocks here. And the map kind of looks like this. Do you know what I'm talking about? The first map, oh God, what was it called? It was called...
I think you're making this map
No,
up.
this map is real. It was on the same map pool, Steps of War, Scrap Station, Metalopolis.
Oh, okay. So was it the terrible map where you would drop a Thor on the high ground over the natural?
No, not Lost Temple.
No, not that one. The other one that was like that.
No, it wasn't. There was no way you could do that. It wasn't Kulas Ravine, if that's what you're thinking about.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
It was, oh my goodness. It was a map where like there was always 4-gate in PvP because you would kill a backdoor rocks, and then there was like no way else for you. There's 2 entrances to the main, so you would have to attack the back. Anyways,
oh, yeah, I know exactly the map.
What was
Scorched it called? Or like, what was it called? It was in the original map pool.
The original map pool.
It was like a desert map.
Yes, desert map.
And it was, it was like a Zerg's worst nightmare. Like
2-gate used to be viable Zealots before Zealots got nerfed on that map.
I remember what it was. Yeah, I remember the map.
Anyways, that map, Hongan versus Genro, it was like the final game, and he forgot range on his Colossi, and Genro was able to win. Speaking of Genro versus MC, where he went mech, and MC tried to defeat him, and then Genro gave the manner as he was. Remember this, where he goes into MC's booth and puts his hand on his shoulder. Do you remember this?
I remember the game. I don't remember the manner.
Okay. I also remember Huck's birthday celebration. Where he had the little thing that you pop and the confetti came out when he won.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. It's been a lot of good games in the past, I have to say. Do you remember any of the bit-by-bit games?
Oh, of
the
course.
worst games ever played by the worst player to ever play?
Yeah, I remember all this.
Do you remember the one where he had like 1 million Marines in his opponent's base, attacking the hatchery, and right next to the Marines, Banelings were morphing, and he never clicked on them?
I remember this.
He just let them hatch and kill them, and then he lost the game, was eliminated.
I think that was on Jungle Basin, if I remember correctly.
It may have been. I don't quite remember, but it was. I do remember that it was one of the most lacking in skill games ever played.
One of my favorite games was a game where Sheth rushed Burrow. I think it was against Hongan, actually, against a Blink Stalker roll, and barely didn't hold. But it was like a new way that some of the foreign pros, some of the Australian pros, or Epic Open were trying to deal with that. Really strong Blink Stalker attacks we're seeing from Hong and any pro. You know those processes that were always doing the all-ins. I remember the very first game of the GSL where Idra got nuke rushed.
Yes, yes.
Do you remember the game where, you know, Spunky was in the intro for the first GSL?
And he got killed by a battlecruiser.
And he like looks up and sees the battlecruiser, but then he got battlecruiser rushed and died.
Yeah.
That was too perfect.
That was pretty funny.
Like, how much more perfect?
That was rigged for sure. No way.
Remember when San killed Torch with Void Rays on that same desert map that we can't remember the name? Blistering Sands, wasn't it? Blistering Sands.
Good job.
Got it.
About 1 billion people probably tweeted that, by the way.
Yeah, well, too late. I didn't check my phone.
Yeah. Lots of good old games. Fun times back then.
When MMA killed his own command center and Idra GG'd?
Yeah, that was an MLG game, though. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count. I just remembered it.
But how about this? How about let's remember some old strategies that were terrible that everyone used. Remember, in TVP, the only strategy was to stim and try to run up the map and have them not hit the force field.
Yeah.
And it worked like 80% for a season.
Yeah, that was
People
true.
just couldn't hit a force field on a ramp. It was the most pathetic thing from both sides. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're banking on this happening. I can't believe you can't make this happen.
Right.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. What about on Steps of War? We saw this all the time. You go to your opponent's like third base behind the rocks and make a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine right there, and off of the same pylon that's on the high ground, warp DTs onto the low ground and run in.
Oh man,
people do that strategy all the time. There was the Warp Prism 4-gate in PvP on Metalopolis, close air spawns.
Yeah. I remember this.
I think.
God, that was actually really hard to stop back then.
Yeah, because if you didn't know it was coming, you just you move across the map for any reason because that's how you were supposed to do on PvP. You're both 4-gating each other, and suddenly Warp Prism comes into your base, and you're like, do I turn around or what do I do?
Do you remember when it was when Warpgate researched in the time of a 1 chrono and everyone just went 4-gate against 4-gate in PvP?
Do you remember when the Korean 4-gate was popular where you'd pull out a gas after you had just enough Warpgate research and then just spam pylons in your opponent's base, and kill them in time and just warp in Zealots off a 10-gate? Well, the builds
Gateways were actually built quicker too. God, Protoss was really good back in the day, but so was Zerg with their 2 armor roaches and
1 supply.
Yeah, 1 supply.
Marines used to build a lot faster. Reactors built like in about 1/3 of the time they build now. And I remember
SCVs still had 60 health.
Yeah. In the first week of the beta, 90% of my games, it got me into Platinum League, which was the highest league at the time, where me just mining 100 gas, pulling out, making 2 reactors, and 3 barracks, the third one with no reactor.
So fast.
No reactor, and then just pulling my SCVs 60. I don't care if you made like 2 cans at the top of your ramp and
you
actually
had more than that, yeah. You had, well, if they had sentries, well, the thing is people didn't hit force fields back then.
No, they didn't know what force fields are for.
Shocking that, shocking lack of force field skill.
Do you remember when Terran player who since switched to Protoss and became a caster on, I think it was Scrap Station, died to a mothership rush? You remember something like that? There was like a mothership coming across the map.
Weird that would have ever happened to anybody.
I can't remember who he was playing against, but the mothership comes.
It was against, I think it was against King Hillbilly, like an old Warcraft 2 pro.
Oh, okay.
That actually was like an alpha tester or something like. Worked at Blizzard or something like that.
Okay, that must have been what happened.
I had never seen that unit before. It popped out, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's so many really good games. All right, we're just getting closer to being started, guys. We had to restart the computer, then, of course, resume the replay to make sure everything is set and good. So this has been really fun and nostalgic, though.
Do you remember when Void Rays had a speed upgrade?
Yeah, Flex Veins.
Yeah, and like I think it was Genius just like went mass speed Void Rays and would just like run around the Terran base like they were mutas and kill everything. It was
Genius
so
was addicted to Void Rays, man.
When In Control came out, there was actually two things that spurred me into switching into Protoss. One was In Control came out and got within one game of qualifying for GSL. Lost his very last game, like 1-2 against a Zerg player. And so then he stayed at my house for like a few days, and we chilled and played a lot of StarCraft. And he was playing. He hadn't seen this game. I told him about. I'm like, no, now get Flux Veins. Now just run around like these are mutas. And like, he just like slaughtered some Terrans with that. Of course, it was patched very quickly thereafter. But
yeah, no, that was really strong. I missed those upgrade a lot. I wish it would be reintroduced, like a little bit tuning maybe. But you know, regardless. I remember that upgrade. Do you remember the Kaidarian Amulet that was removed as well? That used to give storms instantly.
Yeah. And here's the thing, because I switched to Protoss, right? Because like I had been like sitting there and talking about Protoss within Control a whole lot and watching him play and like, you know, just at my house, that type of thing. By the way, guys, we're rematching, so it's going to be just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But anyways, I sat there and talked with him a lot, and then eventually I saw Mana do at DreamHack like a 2-gate observer opener. And between those two things, I'm like, okay, I can switch to Protoss because I like had a lot of fun talking within Control about it and saw a cool build.
Yeah.
So there's still problems going on, guys. It's okay.
Okay, so basically what we're getting information about is like SuperNova has now a problem with his account, which... Okay, so basically SuperNova has an issue with his account, which means that there's some sort of issue syncing the replay to get back into the game properly. Rather than just loading the replay and trying to get the two players in. Instead, SuperNova suggested a rematch just starting over, and Effort accepted. We didn't really have anything really revealed there. We saw Effort was going fast speed, but that was about it, which I don't think SuperNova even saw. Regardless, he's accepted the rematch, so we're going to have a new game.
Yeah. And back to the point. So anyways, I switched to Protoss, and I only opened with High Templars because I realized how broken Kaderan Amulet was. And I remember because I was commentating all the time and always saying, they shouldn't be going Colossus. This isn't very good on 2-base.
Yeah.
Like, get your Colossus after you have 3-base. Just go High Templars. And so many Protoss players like, you don't know what you're talking about. I want you to imagine if Kaderan Amulet existed.
In today's meta, yeah.
Wow. It was so broken.
I think the only...
Thank God it's gone. Oh, my God.
The first and only Protoss that really made use of Kaderan Amulet the best was actually San.
Yes. Oh, God. He was so good.
He just constantly had those... I remember it was on Terminus Re, I think, where he just, like, constantly had bases killed, but he just warped in more storms and kept killing the Terran
He was
army.
refugee Protoss right there.
Yeah. I think you guys called him the Whack-A-Mole Protoss because he just kept popping back up.
Yeah.
You know what was really interesting is Killer was a player who often like turned off Zealot charge sometimes and then would turn it back on to make sure his Zealots didn't accidentally charge in before. Remember there was a patch that made it so Zealots would always hit a target no matter what when they charged, and before that they wouldn't?
Yeah.
Killer would like turn charge off and then turn it back on in the middle of games because of that.
It seems like kind of smart. I don't like it for the slowness of it. What I actually do, and I still do this to this day, is when I'm like approaching the Terran and there's like 2 Marauders run out or something, or like there's a supply depot or a missile turret, I hit hold position, let the Stalkers and Colossus kill everything.
Yeah.
And I use move commands and hold position a lot to make sure that the Zealots don't charge in until I want them to charge.
That's actually a really undervalued idea. Because
I don't know if it's that good or not, but I really like it.
Well, I feel like oftentimes charges are wasted. Say in a Protoss, if you put like say there's 2 pylons in the middle of the fight before 2 Zealot engagements occur, and you got to get your Zealots around Immortals, Archons, and whatnot. All the Zealots charge in on 2 pylons, and then there's a gap between the pylons and the Protoss army. Then you've wasted your charge, and then you're going to eat a lot of damage there. So I feel like you know, the way that charge works automatically can be quite quite
you gotta
scary.
Be careful about it. You don't want them to just to waste that, because they do have that thing where they hit now. You know, so.
You can turn charge off automatically and cast charge on a unit for a Zealot to charge directly to it, I believe. At least it used to be like that. Like nobody ever does that.
I guess you could cast. I guess you're right. You could technically do that.
I don't think anybody really does.
I've never
I don't think
done
it's
it.
good, but
anyways,
you're right, yeah. We're finally back, guys. SuperNova versus Effort, game number 2 here in the GSL Group K for Code A.
All right, down or over here, left-hand side of the map, our Zerg player. He is. We're not going to do the ID call.
Yeah, I feel a bit
everything's
redundant.
going wrong today. Well, all right, and down there, of course, it's SuperNova now. They agreed to a regame. It wasn't really that far in. Will they do the same builds?
High chance. We obviously have different spawning locations, but I don't think it'll affect things too much on this map. Map's super balanced.
If someone changes, I think it's going to be SuperNova. Because
did he see the speed?
He didn't know that speed was on the way, so I think it's okay for Effort to do the same. But Effort was so on top of even where the Reapers were going to jump up that should SuperNova keep the Reapers? I mean, if he didn't, if he does, it's fine. They're Reapers. I mean, it's a good opener. But if he doesn't, I'm okay with that.
He's already changed it slightly. He made an extra SCV before his barracks. Last time he went 11-11 barracks and then refinery. That gives you a little bit more fast gas to go 2 Reapers. So this indicates to me he might actually only go 1 Reaper this time. We do have pool first again here for Effort, and there's the gas, so he's not changing things up.
Okay. So same builds, and that's fine. It's all good. You know, sometimes things like that happen. You know, we didn't always have resume from replay, and there were games that disconnected far in that we had to restart, and that was sad times.
Yeah. Do you remember one of the most famous ones for that was like a long game between, I think it was Demaga and MVP on Tal'Darim Altar, and it was like game was an hour-long plus, and then there was a DC, and it was such a close game. There were like BCs versus Ultralisk Infestors, Mind Control was happening,
yes, I
and the World
commentated
Championship.
that, I believe.
Yeah,
yes.
you were commentating it. That was like one of the saddest things when that game DC.
Another really bad one, Parting versus Marine King, that you were commentating.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I forget who was winning, but then the other person won.
Marine King was definitely losing, but it was a very difficult call to make.
I disagree with that. I think that was a parting win right there for sure.
Well,
I remember, however it went, the person who was winning game 1, I was like, oh no, they definitely have this.
No, it was parting, and the funny thing was, in the regame, the early game was literally exactly the same. The same units died in the same places. It was so back to the same. But Marine King took a better engagement in the end and ended up winning the regame. I agree. I also thought that Parting should have been awarded a win there, but it was a very tough call to make in a very high-stress situation.
In a situation like that, a lot of people are under the thought process that you have to restart, and I understand that to a certain extent. I think that there's a lot of opinions that aren't invalid in the subject.
I'm so glad that we've actually moved past this though, and we don't have to worry about this. Great jump up here, by the way, avoids the queen, and we'll come over into the gas. That's all you need to see. And now he's going to start picking away at these units.
Yeah, this was really nice to be able to see that gas or speed is on the way, and that gas is basically stopped mining.
Notice the Effort also avoids even making a spore there. So with this, he's actually able to save a little bit of money. Pretty cool.
Very good point.
Very on top of his queen positioning as well.
Yeah, Effort actually did, in my opinion, the best defense I've ever seen of Proxy Rex Reaper, which was against Maru in that game that we were talking about before.
Yeah, on Sage Zone.
That was it was perfect. It was perfect. He took the absolute minimal damage against someone who is godly at micro. Anyways, very good micro there by Effort again, and SuperNova as well. This is kind of the dance of the Reaper, right? It doesn't really kill anything. Yeah.
He does stick with 2 this time, again. And with these 2 Marines popping out, we'll be fine against any sort of speeding pressure that comes across the map. He's making a siege tank as well after he saw that gas, because he's really concerned. I guess he didn't see speed researching either, so...
Now,
which we don't have, in fact, do we? Or is that just already done really fast? Yeah, it is actually. Okay, I was like... Sorry, I just got confused there for a second.
That happens. The siege tank, we actually see this occasionally from Terrans, 1 or 2 siege tanks against early gases. It really helps against roaches, baneling all-ins. And in fact, depending on what third you take, it can really help. And this is actually why he's taking it, I would say. It can really help to zone out an area for his third base. Plus all the defensive things that we were talking about before. And
uh-oh, armory's going down.
Aww.
And...
I mean, this means mech, right?
Because almost certainly, because he's not making any Marines.
Yeah.
And he's not making any Marauders either, like we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going back here. But oh, no, I guess not.
Oh, he wants to show this to the Overlord, I think.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think you're right about that.
He's he's not gonna stutter step these Marines. He's gonna let the Overlord see this. He's also gonna fake stim, and then he's gonna cancel it.
Yep. Very, very well done, Wolf. Definitely gonna be a mech play, I would say. It doesn't have to be, once again. Like, you can actually go for that same sort of bio play you went for before.
Well,
but I don't know, it kind of felt like a mech timing on the armory, if that makes any sense.
No,
like, you didn't need it yet, for sure.
I totally feel you. He's going to have Hellbats really early for a possible drop. Like, he can actually just walk these across, actually, I suppose, with these Reapers and do a little bit of harassment here and then go into Hellbat mode to make it a little bit heavier.
Yeah. Well, he does come up and nice snap on that that creep tumor. Wants to kill as many as possible as early on as possible. Cloak even on the way, and yeah, +1 weapons. So definitely going to be going into mech here. And as you said, you really like mech on this map. Why don't you tell us why?
I feel like there's a lot of different ways to control the choke points. There's a lot of different zoning points. There's a lot of high and low ground points. Like this little area right here where there's 2 different ramps. You can control it certain ways. You can there's ways to control the high ground as a meching player and also defend that ramp. There's also ways as the attacking player, the Zerg in this case, to try to find different attack patterns to attack it. Not to say that I think this map is like the best for mech, but I like to watch it. And this is going to be really, really good for SuperNova here. He's going to be able to isolate these queens right now and take them out, no problem. The only thing he has for defense is speedlings and a few banelings that are about to finish, but they're not ready in time. And honestly, you can actually just go back into Hellion mode and run away as soon as the banelings get close.
He's actually, this is like a really good situation for him. He's got to spread a little bit. Spread him out, spread him out. Not the best spreading, to be honest.
I think he was looking at something else, but he's still going to trade pretty well against these lings, I guess.
Oh, totally. Like, he got queens, a ton of them. That was really good, actually. I would totally trade that every day of the week.
With Cloak Banshees coming in now, he's got the queens eliminated over there at the third base.
Good point.
No Spore Crawlers up because he's not expecting this. He's expecting Bio. He's getting Baneling speed, which still isn't what he wants because he thinks it's just a Hellbat opening into Bio, which it's not. Baneling speed is going to be almost completely useless against mech.
But to be fair, against mech, Baneling speed, I would say, is pretty useless. Like, you just don't want to make Banelings. But against SuperNova's brand that he oftentimes uses, which has a lot of Thors and Hellbats in a timing push, then I think Baneling speed definitely can be useful to try to eliminate some of those and maybe SCVs that are trying to get Thors.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's definitely not going to be useless if he has it, right? He can make use of it.
Yeah.
If you have a Baneling nest without speed, then Banelings are almost 100% useless.
Yeah, they're useless.
But at least maybe now he can make something out of his Banelings if the need arises.
And it looks to me like he's going to go for that. Look, he's already creating Thors before any like Mutalisks are going to be out or anything like that. And that kind of points towards that style that we were talking about. You know, him and Byung are 2 guys that really do use this style pretty often.
Yeah, we saw Flash use something like this for a while, but he's kind of switched back to almost completely bio style.
I would say when Flash goes mech, it's a more turtly version than timing attack-based version.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, there's a lot of ways this can go. He doesn't necessarily have to do timing attack. It can transition into turtling. You know, well, it could just be a pressure. It's, you know, the mech isn't quite as mapped out as bioplay.
It's definitely very flexible. But we have to really state that SuperNova is massively ahead right now. If you look at his worker count, he's ahead in that. But if you look at his army, it's like, it's just no contest here.
Yeah.
Should just go ahead and switch into Hellbat mode, actually. Get those extra hit points. I mean, I guess he wants to get a drone line here.
Yeah, he's trying. Oh, doesn't quite get it. Some really good pulls here by effort.
That was a close call, though.
Yeah. Really great play by both sides here.
He doesn't really have any medevacs on the map, so these Hellions can't be healed in Hellbat mode. That would be one small benefit of going into Hellbat mode if he had some of those, but since he doesn't.
Well, he's focusing pretty heavily on Banshees here, too, and Banshees go with this build very, very well. They just have such great damage output, and you can't go Mutas against it very well because of how many Thors there are, which kind of just keeps them alive.
Link's like, okay, I'm on second thought.
Really cool play.
This has actually, by the way, literally been my favorite change to the game there's ever been, is to remove the upgrade for the transformation.
They definitely need to do that, but is that really your favorite?
That's actually my favorite patch there's ever been.
My favorite is when they reverted the bunker nerf.
I thought you were going to say when they updated the icon for Blue Flame to be blue instead of red.
Yeah, actually, that was nice, too.
That was really strange that was red for a really long time. No one will ever be able to explain
I think my favorite was taking out Kandarian Amulet. That upgrade was just so stupid. All right, so we have Swarm Host coming out. Now, Swarm hosts, when they get up to a big number, are going to be really good against this. He doesn't have siege tanks to deal with it, but he can deal with the locusts in smaller numbers. You know, he's got kind of a mobile mech army. The
question is, does he have? I mean, let's look at the army supplies. They're 114 to 53.
Yeah.
He might just bowl this over.
Exactly. This is
14 locusts at a time against 16 hellbats, 4 banshees, and 6 thors.
I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold on here, but if he does hold on, he's got the right unit set to make this a super long game that's going to be hard for SuperNova.
And you know, when you talk about this composition that he's built, when you talk about Swarmos, they're the unit that's the most cost-efficient in the Zerg arsenal besides Broodlords for doing damage with units that don't cost anything.
I would say even more cost-efficient than that because of how long its range can be, but here we go. He is trying to push forward here. We have a cloak going up. The point defense drone really helping out here for a moment.
That Raven is so important too because with that you can actually target these down while they're burrowed. A bunch of Baneleys coming out. Baneley speed finishing here again. It looks like he canceled it earlier, but it's done again now. And he's trying to crash into those SCVs, but the hits here are not very good.
Yeah, the Banelings actually mostly detonating on Thors. A nice little counter hit there with Banelings, but he needs to hold on here or he's going to lose the game.
Yeah, exactly. The economy is less important right now than the actual push. You know, his death. Doesn't matter how bad the Terran army, economy is if he just kills you.
He can't lose a base here, basically. And even on top of that, he can't really lose many swarm hosts or he's going to be dead.
He is starting to equalize the army supply a little bit. You know, this is that cost efficiency of those locusts we were talking about.
And there's not really that many SCVs left in this actual attack, right? So look, what is it? 5 SCVs? Well, that's still a pretty good amount. He's still definitely getting value.
Drop some more mules as well to help repair.
Well, the drones coming out to battle against Thors, that's always a little bit rough.
Point defense drone actually now helping out so much as well on those locusts.
But
you
still,
know, he's holding on.
He's pushing it back. He's pushing it back. He's lost a lot of drones, unfortunately. He's down to just 47. Doesn't really have that many units up here, and this is a constant rally of units from SuperNova. It feels like he's hit such a nice timing with this attack, and yeah, effort agrees. GG can't quite hold it.
Timing-oriented mech you were talking about.
Yeah, and it was very powerful for a few reasons. One, that Hellbat attack did so much, but two, and part of the reason why one worked is because he faked that stim. That was a super important moment of this game. Effort completely thought this was a different play. He saw 3 commands and stim being upgraded. I mean, you are never expecting Hellbats to just 6 Hellbats to run in at that time when you see those, what he saw, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That was a sick fake.
Yeah, really great play by SuperNova. Effort just barely unable to hold. He hadn't taken so much damage there. I think he holds the timing or, you know, holds it and then it goes into a longer game, like not like he's ahead necessarily.
Right. Well, he doesn't get like his arm cut off basically. That's basically what happened in that game. King Sage on Station is the next map here. I think this is an intelligent choice by Effort. It's really good against mech. Obviously, you know, if you're comfortable playing again on this map, you're usually comfortable playing against mech. You practice against it a lot. I don't know if SuperNova will actually go for it again, but this is a map that's harder to hit those sorts of timings with. It's even harder to hit the third base with Hellions, Hellbats. It's a little bit further away.
Well, let's see what these guys end up choosing to do here. Love this map for the matchup. Should be fun. SuperNova against Effort 1-1. Winner goes on to that winner match against